Welcome everybody back to Suburbs of Seattle. I'm your host Andrey Gulyy, and today I'm coming to you with a special video. And I know I've been shooting a ton of YouTube Shorts videos, and this topic has come up multiple times in my recent videos. And today I wanted to give you a more in-depth look into what the seller's market looks like right now, and should you sell your home in 2022 here in the greater Seattle area. So, without further ado, let's get going. Before you consider selling, there's one main question that you have to ask yourself as a homeowner. Why? Why do you want to sell your home? Once you identify the answer to that question, you have to ask yourself a follow-up one. Is it absolutely crucial for you to sell your home? What happens if you don't? Right? These are things that you have to ask yourself. These are questions I ask my clients when I come out to their houses. These are questions I ask them because it's all about you. It's all about what your intentions are. What's your plan? Do you have a place that you're going to move to once you sell, right? And myself as the agent, I know I'm out there to help educate them through this process so that they can make the best decision for them. But these are questions I ask my clients all the time, because if you don't know why you want to move, if you maybe have a plan B or C, then your answers will really affect the outcome of how your home will be sold and for what price. Let me explain. So if you are motivated to sell your home and you realize that, hey, this is absolutely my only option, I have no plan B, C, D, or E, I have to sell my home. With this type of mindset, you're going to be open to actually understanding where your price needs to be, because some things have really shifted in this market and they're going to continue to shift. My job is to put you in front of that shift and get you top dollar for your home in this market. But getting top dollar means pricing your home right. And pricing your home right is going to depend all on you and where your mindset is about this market and about your motivation to sell. And look, don't get me wrong. If you're in a position where you're like, let's just test this out and see how it goes, that's totally fine. But in my experience, clients with that type of mentality usually end up listing their home on the market at a higher price point, and they let it sit there for 1, 2, or 3 months before eventually dropping the price and getting an even lower price in most cases than what we initially talked about. And look, if you're in that position where, you know what, if you can sit on the market for a few months and if you don't get your price, you're out, that's okay. I'm not here to dictate to you on what you should and what you should not do. But it's, again, it all comes back down to your motivation. If you know that you absolutely have to sell your home right now and you want to get in front of the ever-shifting market, then this video will be great for you. So let's go a little bit in more depth into what it takes to sell your home properly and for the right price. After you ask yourself those crucial questions, another key factor to understand before deliberating on where your price should be is understanding the buyer's mindset. Understanding what the buyer has felt, went through over the last year. Now, why should you even care about what the buyer thinks? Well, the answer is very simple, because the buyer has the money that you want for your home. The buyer is the market. The buyer dictates what price they're willing to offer for your home. You dictate whether you're willing to accept that price or not, but the buyer in this market has shifted strategies, and let me explain to you what I mean by that. It used to be for the last 2-3 years, about 2-3 years, where any home that gets listed, the next seller that lists their home, whether it be a neighbor or somebody in the vicinity, the question is, hey, how much higher can we get than them? And when that seller sells for, say, 500 and the other guy sold for 480, right? The next seller is like, well, hey, let me go ahead and list my house at 520 because this guy sold at 500. Now we are seeing a shift. We're seeing a shift now in the overall market here in the greater Seattle area, in King, Pierce, Snohomish counties. The story is the same. There's no longer 20 offers per one house like you've read in the news stories before. Some house in Bellevue had like, I think they got $1 million over list price, something like that. It was stupid. It was crazy. And that's, imagine being a buyer in that market, going through those emotions, writing 30 offers on a home before you even get one accepted. And with the Fed raising interest rates this year, interest rates have went up on the mortgage side as well. And now the payments for buyers, say for example a $700,000 home back in January with a 3% interest rate and a 10% down payment, your monthly payment on that home would be only $3,736 a month. Whereas now for a $700,000 home and a 10% payment, your monthly payment will be $5,200 a month. That's a drastic difference. And most buyers don't have 20 or 30% down. The average buyer more so has 10% down, 5% down. There's a lot of first-time home buyers in this market. And with a lot of millennial buyers, many of their money is wrapped up in stock options in the stock market. And we all know how that's been doing the last few weeks. It turned itself upside down. So I literally had a conversation with my neighbor the other day who was looking to buy months earlier, and he has some stock options, but now he's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna have to wait. Maybe I'll get a higher paying job and save up some more money for down payment because his stock options turned upside down. And look, you know, they'll probably go up within time, but this is the mindset of active buyers in today's market. And again, you as a seller need to understand the buyer's mindset because they're the ones that are making the emotional decision to purchase your home. So in order to get ahead of them, in order to get ahead of these buyers, in order to get top dollar, we have to A, understand how they're thinking, and B, react accordingly. So let's talk about reacting accordingly. So once you ask yourself the motivating questions on why do you want to sell? Do you absolutely have to sell, right? What would you do if you didn't sell? Once you did that, once you understand the buyer's mindset, right? Because they're the ones who have the money for your house. Step 3 is understanding the price of your home and where it should be priced at. Because again, pricing your home based off of what your neighbor sold 6 months ago is not gonna cut it anymore. That neighbor that told you, hey, I listed and got $100,000 above asking price, most of the cases, that's not happening anymore unless somebody drastically underprices their home. But let's talk about pricing strategies for a second. One thing you have to do as a seller, or better yet, have your agent help you do, because this is the agent's job, is doing research on what's actively happening, not in the last 2-3 weeks in your market or in your neighborhood, but what's actively happening right now, this week, no later than a week ago. What the agent needs to do, this is what I do, is I pull up homes around the neighborhood that have went pending in the last week. Because pending shows what happened actually this week. Pending listings from this week show you what buyers are doing in your neighborhood right now. Now, I always do multiple price checks with my clients. If my client says we're about a month out, I usually do some preliminary research regarding the price and I give them kind of a range. And then if they're a month out, 2 weeks later, we meet up and we look at the prices again. And then also 2 to 3 days before we list, we look at active prices then. If you're pricing your home 7 days from now, look at pending listings from this week. But if you're about a month out, again, it's good to talk about prices from a general perspective, from a range. But really in this market, like I mentioned, you have to do a price check on your listing 2 to 3 days before listing it, because prices are evolving rapidly. I had a friend who listed a house for her client. I did some research and I'm like, look, you guys realistically will probably end up selling for around 740, something like that. Her clients wanted to price their home based off of what their neighbor sold for a month ago, around 810. I think it was 810,000. Yeah. Talked to her today. They're at 760,000 over a month on the market and no offers. And the houses around them, there's one house that is super close to theirs that looks like theirs. That listing is at 740, right? So you want to get ahead of the neighbors in your area, and you want to look at pending listings that went pending this week, right? Because that's the most relevant data to your market right now. It used to be that we would look at sold listings from, a month ago or 2 months ago. Not anymore. No. Now to get accurate price points, pending listings this week only. That's the only way to do this right. This brings me to step number 2. After you price your home right, you have to make sure you prepare your home properly as well. Preparing your home takes a few steps. Number 1, are you going to stage it with your furniture, or are you going to stage it with some companies for furniture? There's staging companies out there that stage homes. It costs anywhere from $2.5 grand to $4 grand to stage a house properly. So are you going to stage it? Number 1. Number 2, making sure your place is well lit. If you have yellow light bulbs, get rid of them. White only. White is what people like. Well lit rooms. White light and white paint make everything look brighter and better. A few years back, there was a listing I listed for in Bellevue, and this home was on the market. We listed it at 1.619, I believe, and this home was on the market for about 30 days. I talked to all the agents, and all the agents that brought their buyers through, they were saying, look, my buyers feel like it's a little bit dark. Something didn't feel right about the place. They thought it needed more lighting and whatnot, right? That was the type of feedback that we were getting. I relayed this over to my clients. My clients painted the entrance a lighter color. They replaced all the light bulbs in the home, and it sold within a week of us doing that. The reason why is because buying is an emotional process. Buyers react emotionally. If your home is staged properly, decluttered, well lit, right? Buyers feel better. They have a chair to sit down on and say, you know what, honey, I can see us living here because, yeah, it feels good. It's a nice place. I could see us raising a family here, right? They start telling themselves stories. Buying is all about emotions. So you want to maximize the amount of positive emotions that buyer feels. And look, I know it's a crazy market because literally months ago, buyers had to get into the mindset of the sellers to understand what the seller wants, right? Oh, the seller wants top dollar. The seller wants to live in their house after they move out, 2 months rent free. The seller can't accommodate this showing. Can you come tomorrow? Because the seller has 40 other showings. Now, tables have turned 180 degrees. Now it's the seller understanding the mindset of the buyer, right? So these are the strategies that you need to do in order to get top dollar for your home in today's market. And if you're looking to sell your home in the greater Seattle area, I would be honored to help you out, to put a game plan together with you, just to sit down and have a conversation about what's the right thing for you to do, right? Then we can identify price together as a team. I sit down, I open up my computer, I show you how an appraiser will appraise your property. They use the Northwest MLS, which is what us real estate agents use as well. We'll draw up a radius around your house. We'll look at pending listings together. I make phone calls with you together at the table to the agents of those pending listings so we can find out what they went pending for. This is all real information that you will get real time and see for yourself. So if you're looking for a free home analysis, if you're looking to sell your home, I would be honored to help you out. Call me at the number below. Let's get a consultation in. Even if you're 6 months down the line or a year down the line, let's have a conversation about what's the right thing for you. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next video.